skeletons and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul, seal your doom tonight. Spooky, scary skeletons speak with such a screech. You'll shake and shudder in surprise when you hear these zombies shriek.
So, boob farts.
Should get a laugh track.
I could throw in, yeah. I think I have generic
laugh
laughing. I could put that.
That would really sell everything we talk about.
Boob farts.
Boob fuck. Razzleberries.
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 Recently, I showed Sir Booberry, Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell.
Great show.
Starring the wonderful Henry Zabrowski.
Love that man.
Of Last Podcast on the Left fame. And just talking about last weekend with Disco Dracula. Man, I wish I knew that you were a fan sooner. You could have gotten in on the birthday present.
That's all right. There'll be other shows.
But no, yeah, I was talking to Ben, and he was like, we're going to be grounded for the next couple months, next year maybe.
Really?
Because they toured all last year. They went all over the world. They went to Europe.
I didn't know that.
They went to Europe, they went to Canada, and they went to the U.S. And, like, all over the U.S., almost every state. And it's wild to think about that they've been doing this for, like, 7 years, and only really in the last 2 did the Patreon really come through and get them touring.
Yeah.
They make $20,000 a month just from the podcast, not even counting like their day jobs. From Last Podcast.
Do they have day jobs?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Henry's obviously an actor. Ben does stuff on Fox News, and Marcus runs the entire Cave Comedy Radio. So that $20,000 that all those happy patrons have been throwing at them, about $22 grand a month, got them touring, which, like, what a wonderful world we live in, that 3 talented people can do that. We started watching Your Pretty Face, and it's just, I'm so happy it got renewed for 4th season. I remember one of the first things I asked Henry is like, fuck, like, you haven't, no one has said anything. Season 3 ended like a year ago. Like, no one, Adult Swim, no one anywhere, like, every site says that it hasn't been renewed yet. And Henry was like, oh, we're going to film part 2 of season 4 in November, so I'm going to be in Atlanta pretty much.
Nice. Good.
And yeah, just knowing that they have a season 4 coming just fills me with glee.
Georgia seems like a pretty hopping place for filming lately.
Atlanta is a hub.
Yeah.
Because
you got Dead and
you got the rural countryside, and you got great film sets.
Yeah.
And you also have a huge fucking hub of the city. All of it's right there. What else? What else do I want to talk about? We went to a horror-themed convention this morning. What did you think of that?
Oh, it was cool. I mean, I guess I probably would have been more excited about it if I was more of a fan of, like, Walking Dead. Walking Dead.
Yeah, it was Walker Stalker in Philadelphia. But they also did, like, there were people from Sons of Anarchy, like fucking Ron Perlman. We got to stare at Ron Perlman from afar.
He's a beautiful human.
He's fantastic.
He's a great guy.
And, like, Tom Savini was there, and, like, anyone who's a horror fan knows who Tom Savini is, master of special effects.
I did enjoy listening to the dudes from Boondock Saints.
That was cool. We went to the first panel of the day, and we weren't there very long. We knew we had a busy day ahead of us, and it was free. So we pretty much just walked around for, like, 2.5 hours, and we just happened to be there during the panel for when Rocco and Sean Patrick Flannery were talking, because Norman Reedus was too busy. He's the reason that this fucking con exists.
Yeah, he wasn't
He's
there.
The most busy person.
Maybe Carl.
No, it is definitely Norman
Reedus.
It's
Norman Reedus, but, like,
but next
Carl's
in line is Coral.
Yeah,
Coral. So, like, we walked past the line for Norman Reedus.
I couldn't even see Norman Reedus.
No, we actually couldn't.
So many people.
You could see everyone else. There were people from Ash vs. Evil Dead there.
I saw, like, a glimpse of Norman with his hat.
I made nice eye contact with Eugene from afar.
Nice.
That was good.
It's romantic.
Yeah, funny guy. My father took pictures with everyone from the Walking Dead cast that was there today. and he was wearing a fucking shirt that was Fozzie holding a rubber duck, and it said "Waka Walking Dead." I was fucking crying when I saw that shit. But he sent me his pictures just now. So Laurie Holden, Andrea, first couple seasons, Herschel, Jesus, Morgan, Abraham, Rosita, and Eugene.
Did they just get home or something?
Yeah.
Coral.
Ross Marquand. It's like book 3. And then fucking Jerry and King Ezekiel. The best fucking picture. It's like Maui in human form.
Essentially.
Anyway, I had a blast. And Sean Patrick Flannery just talked about funny shit that has happened on set with Norman Reedus and Rocco during both the Boondock Saints movies. And he talked about Willem Dafoe for a little bit. And that was just funny to listen to. And you son of a bitch, you got me to spend $50.
Hey, man. I didn't hold a gun to your head. You chose to spend that money.
So you collect pop vinyl Funkos.
Yeah.
And, or Funko pop vinyls.
Whatever the fuck you call them. They're little fucking action figures.
They're little, yeah. Not even. They don't even move. They're just
some of them do.
Little statue. Okay, that's cool. But you have like a very vibrant collection, and I've always stayed away from them because I thought it would fuel the collector in me.
It does. It for sure does.
I feel like now, from this point forward, like, paradigm shift in my existence. Wherever I go from now on, I'm always gonna like peripherally, like, look at the pops from across the wall.
My thought is, like, I'm gonna walk somewhere, like, whether it's like a secondhand type of store, or, you know, like a big box store, and I'm gonna see one that I know is like $150 priced regularly, and I'm just gonna snatch it up, and I'm gonna make a steal, because like I told you, I have the one that I picked up at the one store. It was like $20 in the store, but it's like a $60 pop. So I made $40 in my purchase. Well,
what I was going to say was the two I got are just the two versions of Pennywise that exist in the world.
Actually, there's another one.
Tim Curry and Skarsgård.
There's another version of the Skarsgård Pennywise with teeth, and they're like bloody.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I didn't see it there either, but I was curious about like what they go for online, so I Googled it and I saw it.
I believe I got the regular yellow eyes with the boat.
Yes.
These are the only 3 I knew of.
Oh, so I don't know about those.
There's a blue eyes one too. Oh shit, this one.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
That's nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think I'm cool with the one I got.
That one's crazy. Oh, absolutely.
But that's crazy.
Yeah. No, there's like a billion different...
But yeah, I got a Tim Curry and a Skarsgård.
The thing with...
both Pennywise. I'm going to put them right there on each side of my TV.
The downside of Funko is like there's like a billion different variations of certain characters, so it's impossible to collect every single one. Like,
absolutely.
I like getting Batman, but there's like a billion different Batman ones.
I can only imagine.
And and you even saw like there were some Batmans where it was like Joker Batman, Scarecrow Batman, half robot monster Batman. Like I don't need all.
Well, it's all these different artists just sell their design to them. What the guy was telling me as I was checking out for the Pennywise, the Skarsgård one, was that they lost their license for the Skarsgård Pennywise.
Really?
Which is why they were priced higher and why he had so few of them. He said he had a solid box earlier that week, and now he was down to the 6 that were there, and apparently one of them was a variant, which is why it was so expensive.
Makes sense.
Yeah, we saw one of them that was like, I think $120, $130. Like, it didn't make sense. It looked exactly like the other ones, but it was gone when we came back.
Yeah, I don't know. It must have been something cool about it. I don't know.
Yeah, so that happened. I got 2 little... I think I'm just going to get horror ones, honestly. If I'm in Hot Topic and I'm looking to use hot cash and I'm looking for, something to waste money on, I think that's going to become like... Get the Freddy, get the Jason,
plus
get the Ash.
They're good like stocking stuffers. Like if someone doesn't know what to get me for a birthday or like Christmas or whatever, they just know that I like certain characters. If they come up with like, here's an Adventure Time Finn pop. I mean, obviously I have Finn and Jake already, but I would be like, oh cool, like this is awesome. Like I'll set it with my collection and it's cool.
Yeah, you keep most of yours in box too. I'm gonna break those babies out though.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm never gonna sell them.
With moving and everything, it's just easier for me to transport them when they're in their box.
Oh, all the rest of my figures, all the rest of everything. Like I do forget the company. I think it's Reimage or something. They make they look like old school Kenners. And for the layman, Kenners are like the old G.I. Joe, the old Star Wars figures from like the 70s. And there's a company that makes new figures of new things or things that have happened since the 70s in that style. And I started collecting those, I would say 2 years ago. And I have I think I have like 16 of them, and I hang them on my wall like a giant picture, and it's funny. I'm the worst kind of collector because I just, whenever I see them, I throw money at it, and next thing you know, I'm like down $80, and I'm like, where'd that $80 go? My car's running out of gas.
I feel like we need to mention the Thomas the Tank Engine.
Fuck, man. There were so many funny things I wanted to spend money on. Like, there was a Ash from Evil Dead, like, Kenner that is completely custom made, and I asked the guy how much it was, and he was like $100, and I was like,
nope.
It is a beautiful figure, but at the end of the day, it's a fucking Kenner. Like,
they're never gonna do anything.
They're not posable. I'm not gonna take it out of the box. I don't take any of them out of the box, and fuck, like, it's way too much. Beautiful figure though.
We did see
We saw two Star Wars Kenner variants that were very funny. One of them was the burnt Uncle Ben or Uncle Owen.
It's literally just like a charred
Tatooine.
skeleton.
It was literally just the picture of, you know, when Luke looks over at the moisture farm and he sees the two burnt skeletons, Auntie and Uncle, and you know, the sad music plays. One of them was the burnt skeleton, and it said Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, and I was fucking hilarious. And to its left, and I almost started crying when I saw it because it even had like Vader's foot in the picture on the cardboard. It was an Obi-Wan Kenobi figure, but it's when he disappears in A New Hope, and all that's left is the robe sitting on the ground.
That was it.
And Vader tows it. He's like, he still has the lightsaber out. I see it in my mind right now, and he tows the fucking cape like, hey, you still there?
So there was no action figure. It was just a cloth cape.
No, it was vinyl. It was a little vinyl cape just sitting in a little box.
It was great.
It was the funniest thing. So yeah,
go around the other side of the booth.
Shit, you could do it.
And at the corner of my eye, there's this lovely blue box that catches my eye, and it's got like Japanese print on it, text and shit. And I'm like, oh, what's this? And I see Thomas the Tank Engine, and I was like, oh, I mean, who's gonna buy a Thomas the Tank Engine action figure? Motherfucker, it was a fucking transformer. It like transformed into like this shitty little robot. With like his face on the stomach. It looked like a shitty combination of Voltron and the Megazord from Power Rangers. It was so bad. You ever see that video? It's like the Team Fortress 2, like Gary's mod.
But it's the Thomas the Tank Engine song.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. That's what the machine looked like. It was great.
It really did look like that though. It was an Autobot with Thomas's stupid face in the middle of it. And it was all blue like his tank. It was fun. It was really fucking funny. And we didn't even ask how much it was because part of me like would have been really depressed, like spending money on that. I think part of
me would have bought it if it was a fair price. I think that's why I didn't ask. Like if he said 20, I'd have bought it.
If he would have said like $30, I probably would have been
absolutely. Anything less than 30, I'd be like, yeah, like here you go. Give me it.
It's like a shit post in like physical.
Dude, I would have put that shit on my work desk and owned it. I'd have been like, yeah, no, that was nice. Yeah.
They'd be like, why do you have a Thomas the Tank Engine toy right there? And you'd be like,
yeah.
And you'd have a little robot, and they'd be like, so why do you have a little Thomas the Tank Engine transformer on your desk? And you'd be like, why not?
And transform back.
Fuck that. Anyway,
that's good.
It was a really fun time. We went to King of Prussia and just fucking got lost for like an hour.
We tried gummy bears.
Yeah, we went to Lolly and Pops. Went to the Lego store. New store called Uncanny. That was really cool. And we had some Chick-fil-A. Some high quality fast food. In a mall food court.
But Chick-fil-A is nothing compared to Lotsa pasta.
Oh shit, you just dropped it.
I dropped it.
So we spent all fucking day together because like I told you, you're mine today.
That's
and
fine.
We just got out of seeing, and it was my third time seeing it.
It.
Coincidentally, last night with Disco D, I just like, it's the first time I had him on the couch since we had seen it.
Really?
And we talked about the script in his prior episode. So last week's episode was the first time I got to talk to anyone about it, and I was too stoned to really focus on any of the details. So now we can kind of delve into that.
This is gonna date this episode. This is gonna come out in like, God, when?
2-3 months.
And then people are gonna be like, wow, it hasn't been in theaters for months.
No, it's on Blu-ray now. Like, it's gonna be on Blu-ray, and they're gonna. You could purchase our tracks as commentary on the movie. But I still think it's a solid fucking movie.
Yeah, it was good.
Not really terrifying, right? Like there are
no,
parts.
I'm not big on horror movies, and I did jump in one part, but the reason why I don't like horror movies is because they pump up the volume so loud in movie theaters, and it hurts my ears.
I actually felt like the sound and the lighting was like the screen was a little too dark and the sound was a little muffled.
Yeah, it's just
in
like
our theater, but
it just felt like it's very loud. So like I cover my ears so that it doesn't like give me a headache. Because a lot of the jump scares are like super fucking loud, and it just felt off balance. Like the music was, like you said, the sound or the movie was dim a little. To me, the sound was a little loud, and light. It was just off. So I think I'm gonna rewatch it again. I think we'll take my girlfriend to go see it next week or something, and then I'll probably buy it on deep Blu-ray and watch it again.
Absolutely. The minute it comes out, I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah.
I loved it. Like what I was saying in the car on the way back is like there's two kinds of people. It's like the nostalgia boners that just can't get over someone taking over a new iconic role, and then the people who are able to accept them as two different monsters. Anyone who's seen the two knows there's a very big difference between the kind of otherworldly performance we get with Skarsgård, because they have the budget and the time and the rating, and the kind of dated, creepy Carney, because it looks very real. It looks like you're watching a 3-hour-long soap opera. You know, honestly, it does. But Curry's performance is still the best thing about the miniseries.
Oh, for sure.
So, you know, it's I like both of them. You know, as ham-fisted and corny that the 90s one is, it instilled so much fear in me as a child. That slideshow scene is still my favorite scene in the entire movie.
That was good. That was a good scene.
I just think it really captures the otherworldly, fucked up quality that Pennywise can have, and they substitute it for a couple other scenes in the book and in the miniseries, but overall I think still did a good fucking job.
Oh, absolutely. I agree.
I'm glad you liked it too, because we literally just walked into it.
And you still have your tickets.
And Disco knows, like Disco Dracula knows, like him and I have, like, we usually hang out every week. We go see movies together all the time, because we're huge movie people, and I believe the last time we walked into a movie for free was like, what we're seeing, like Fantastic Beasts, Where to Find Them or something. Maybe not. Regardless, there have been so many times we walked into that movie theater because no one is at the ticket handing station, and it's just like, fuck, well, I guess this one's on the company.
Like the movie starts at a certain time. I'm just going to stand here for like 20 minutes waiting for someone to show up.
Absolutely. So you just walk on through. I already knew where the theater was and what time frame, and got a drink and sat on down. It's one thing I'm going to miss about this place is the kind of no one gives a shit attitude.
But to be fair, it's not like we didn't pay for anything. You already had 2 free tickets.
I did have 2 free tickets, but I had also stolen them from my prior job.
All right, so we're back to being pieces of shit.
I am a piece of shit. Newsflash, Lotsa Pasta, Captain Death is a piece of shit. All right, so I'm here with Sir Booberry. As I've already mentioned, we had a long day, but we wanted to talk about it with everyone and, you know, eternalize it on the digital mainframe. And,
yeah, you know, our lives are sometimes boring, but we think they're cool, and, you know, you're gonna listen to it.
I don't, like I've said multiple times, I don't see this, you know, I see a finish line in my mind for the podcast. I don't see it going anywhere, but it's something that, because the internet is the internet, might get more listeners, might get people to listen to it.
Of course.
And that's all I want, is just to bring joy and laughs.
To be entertaining.
And, you know, like I said, 20 years from now, I'm gonna re-listen to these.
Oh, for sure.
And find them just as funny.
Absolutely.
As I do now. Or if I'm fucking dead...
We'll play them at your funeral.
You guys can listen to these and be like, man, we should have known that he was fucked up.
I'm gonna find all the clips of you being baked. Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna play them at your funeral.
Please, promise
your
me
family's
that.
gonna be there, and it's just gonna be like,
well, that's the funny thing is, like, half of my family would already know I was high, but my parents would not.
Exactly.
Funny stuff, folks.
Yucks.
So, yep, we are here on Lotsa Pasta doing the thing we do, and that's reading the creeps and the spoops found on the interwebs. We need to backpedal a little bit because kind of fucked up. I mean, I wouldn't say fucked up. I would say more of a misstep with your last episode. The first story we read, which we will talk more in detail about shortly. What episode was it? I had it brought up. Just so that I know. So I could...
Just to be clear, we don't make mistakes. We just take...
Episode 42.
Calculated
This
choices.
happened with a Django episode, too. A Django episode recently happened, and I had to backpedal to, like, 3 of his episodes prior. Sometimes I just don't realize that a story has part 2, part 3, you know. I just think a story is a standalone story. I don't think it's a series. And at the time when I grabbed that first story, I didn't realize. But I remember reading it with you and going like, wow, that ending really didn't go anywhere. Yeah. They talk, there's so much uncertainty left at the end of that story, and you're just like... It was cool, though. It was a little off-putting, and it was very Silent Hill, and we were just like, all right, let's move on. Like I was almost sure that there was another part, and I just said, I'm not going to waste time. We're recording right now. I'm not going to waste time going and finding those parts right now, and I'm pretty sure I told everyone to go fuck themselves if they expected that from us, but we are here now, going back and doing the rest of those parts. The title of that first story was called, These Are the Last Texts My Brother Sent Me Before He Went Missing. Help, Please. I don't remember that help, please being there the first time around. But apparently there are 5 parts, and we read the first part on your last episode, episode 42. It's the very first story, so if you haven't read that, you might not enjoy this episode. Or if you haven't listened to 42, you might not get, you'll be missing that first step.
What the fuck are you doing? Go listen to it.
Yeah,
pause this right now. No, pause this right now.
There's no way you get
to
one without, specifically one of your other episodes, without listening to your first 3 episodes.
If they haven't, pause and go and listen to it.
I believe you are episodes 7, 12, and 42.
42.0.
Dab alert.
Dab.
But we read part 1 already, so we're just going to jump right into part 2.
First off, I want to thank all of those who have reached out to me to provide support. I chose to post this on Reddit, perhaps foolishly, because I know this kind of community has helped solve mysteries in the past. Granted, a majority of the people on Reddit only want to spew messages of hate. There are still a good chunk of you who are decent human beings, so thank you. Second of all, I want to clear up something. Where we are located in the US, we don't get a lot of rain, so if it rains for more than half an hour, we tend to find that big news, so that explains my brother's surprise with rain. Lastly, a lot of you are drawing comparisons to works of fiction, like The Langoliers.
Stephen King.
Trust me, I thought the exact same thing, and that is why I never told anyone but my parents, and that is why I have been so secretive with details. I don't want my family to be mocked and ridiculed, and yes, many of you will ask, why post it on Reddit if you don't want to be mocked and ridiculed? Like I said, sometimes this community is able to help. I just want to give a big thanks to all of those who have spoken kind words and showed true compassion. You have no idea how helpful it has been. It is for this particular group that I am making this update for. The rest of you, go ahead and downvote this post. I'm in no way interested in fame or glory or anything else. Last night, I went to my parents' room after they fell asleep and I grabbed my mother's phone. Below is the thread of messages from my brother. My parents were at a movie that afternoon, so that'll explain your lack of response. And before you ask, my parents actually heed the warning to silence your phone at a movie theater, so my mom had no idea she was getting the texts.
I'm leaving Emily's now. Let me know if you're picking up dinner after the movie. Holy shit, it's actually raining. Did you hear that boom? Where's Jasper at? House is so quiet. Smells weird. Did you burn something? FYI, Chris is a dick. Jesus, careful driving home in the rain. It's insane. I think the rainstorm knocked out all the power. If you're reading this, can you try and call me? I don't know where Chris is at, but there's a loud noise. Sounds like it's coming from inside the house. Call me. Seriously, please call. Mom, please call me as soon as you can. Mom. God, I fucking hate Chris. Why will no one text me back? Chris, Emily. My battery is about to die. I'm gonna go over to the Garrett's to see if I can use their cell. Love you. Why?
That was it. I honestly don't know why my parents wanted to hide those from me. The only reason I can think of is that he said he hated me. Maybe they didn't want me to see his last comment about me. I don't know. Just for background, the Garretts are our nearest neighbors. They live about a quarter of a mile away. We did speak with them and they didn't see or hear from Tom that day either. I honestly doubt my dad's cell has any more. I can try it, but Tom usually only ever texts my mom. They were like best friends. I don't know, guys. I was hoping the text would have more clues, more information, anything. I just want to know where my brother is.
Chris is a dick.
Chris is a fucking dick, Mom. I don't even know why you pushed him out of your vagina. He's a dick.
Yeah,
And now Emily's not even answering me?
So where do you think the anger is coming from?
I want to know why he said why.
Why? Yeah, no, that is important. Why?
Why what? Why there's no answering? Why is something happening to him and he wants to know why? Like, is he being punished?
It's weird, the idea of... It's almost funny. It's like, man, something's off. I'm going to keep texting people, multiple people, at the same time. I'm confused. I'm going to keep texting people. Like, that why had to have come at a very prominent time, like when something is approaching him or he finds out where the noise is coming from or where he is. Why choose to text why instead of just, like, saying it to yourself? Which almost...
Does he want, like, a record?
I would say either that or he's physically incapable of asking more, and that's all he's able to send,
Yeah. He
has
enough time to text out why. I don't know. But we're going to find out, because this is
part 3.
Update number 3. I want to apologize to anyone who I haven't responded to in private messages. I'm trying to get through all of them. I want to let you guys know that I took your advice, although I feel like I will regret it, and I gave my details to a psychic who is actually in my area. They'll be coming out tomorrow when my parents are going to lunch with my grandparents. I will hopefully have something noteworthy to post tomorrow. I hope to God I don't regret this. Also, I forgot to mention, many of you suggested looking for bodies of water along the route from Emily's to my house. I live in the desert, so there are no bodies of water along that route. Also, some of you suggested driving the route he did. I've driven it at least a couple dozen times just over the past few days, and nothing out of the ordinary. A Redditor just reminded me of another update. I spoke with our neighbors again yesterday as well, per your guys' recommendation. Their story was the same. They didn't see or hear from Tom that day. They're an unassuming elderly couple, 3 children, 7 grandchildren, and I honestly didn't have any reason to suspect them. I did try to subtly check their property for any signs of Tom, but I didn't find anything of any importance. Again, I just want to thank those of you who have been supportive. A hefty majority of you have actually been really thoughtful and kind. But of course, this is Reddit. There are still a large amount of people who felt the need to mock me or call me a liar. But like I said, the update was never for them, it was for the people who have personally reached out to me via private messages, provided possible explanations, and directed me to possible avenues of assistance. Unfortunately, due to a number of threats I received via private messages, I will not be releasing any personal information. I have reported those to Reddit, whatever good that might do, in hopes that I can at least continue to update the people who actually care. This update is to let you all know I did speak with Emily earlier this morning. Like my family, she is still very shaken up over the loss of my brother. At first, she was reluctant to speak with me. She was even more reluctant to let me see her phone. But I was thankfully able to persuade her. Tom didn't text Emily very often between the time he left her house and the time that his final messages came through. But below is the conversation.
Power's out at our house.
Really? Weird.
Yeah, house smells weird. Jasper's gone.
Oh no, where is he at?
Weird. I can't call out. Can you try calling me?
Go straight to voicemail.
Em, can you call me?
I tried. Straight to voicemail.
Are you getting these texts?
Yeah, babe. I tried calling. Straight to voicemail.
Hello? Hello? Fuck, what the fuck is wrong with this shit? Did you get that? Won't go through.
What, babe?
Gonna go to the neighbor's. Phone about to die. Text won't go through to them. Why?
Babe, you're freaking me out.
Me Helmer.
The last text, Emily and I came up with a theory. Autocorrect always tries to change M into me. And we played around with some misspellings of the last word. We found if you mistype help me, you can get Helmer from autocorrect. I sometimes wish we wouldn't have figured out the last part. Was he in danger? Or was he just scared? Or something else entirely? M help me. Me Helmer.
Me Helmer. Part of me thought...
Oh shit, me Helmer. It's gone. I don't know where me Helmer at.
Part of me thought that this was the kind of story that had, like, more dimensions than the story we're getting. Like, maybe someone... what is it? Dionysus' House. Dionysus' House is this fiction. I've mentioned it before on a prior episode, I think, with Django. It's this online fiction that jumps from random blog spots all over the internet, and each of them reveals a little bit more of this ongoing narrative of people going missing at this at very distinct types of houses in each state. And you had to read the threads in the blog spot to get more of what the narrative was saying. And this guy talks so much in detail about what the threads and the private messages consist of that maybe I feel like we may or may not, just for the audience, we may or may not be missing like an extra bit of information. He might be responding to people in a thread, or he might have multiple usernames and he's just like fiction, you know.
Maybe. I mean, it does seem like he's interacting with the chat or the comment section. I think a lot of them are just telling him, like, you know, oh, talk to a medium, talk to whatever, talk to a spirit guide, whatever. Like, I'm sure if we dived into the comment section, you know, we might get a better idea of what people think it is. But I kind of
and I like that they're approaching it, or at least even if this is like fiction, the way that the thread is written is very real. It's
absolutely.
They're running with the narrative. It's like you should definitely get help. You should do. It
makes the story that much better. But
people are talking about the messaging system.
I almost don't want to see what people are suggesting in the comment section, because I'd rather like develop my own conclusions and then like come back and see. I see if we were right or.
I agree. It's just, you know, there are multiple facets to these kinds of stories, and I always recommend Dionysus' House because it's fucking creepy, but it's such a wide source all over the internet that it took me a couple days to get through all of it. And as great as the material is you have to experience it online yourself like a fucking like detective. Yeah, you can't just read it to an audience and be like, experience this. But that was interesting. Yeah, but I still like it.
No, I think it's good cool. So far.
I'm a sucker for gimmicks, man. I think it's hilarious.
Now we go to part 4. I honestly don't even know what to say right now, guys. I've typed out an update at least a half a dozen times since last night. I get about halfway done, reread what I wrote, and delete it. I don't know if I think that if I don't type it, it won't be true, but really, how do I know what she said is even true? I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so the psychic came over yesterday. I won't go over every single detail of how I found her. Simply put, she saw my post, she recognized the article, and she messaged me privately. Also, I wanted to let you guys know my parents had no idea I called her. I think to them, calling upon a psychic is admitting that Tom might be dead. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't really sure what to expect. Nothing against the psychic, but the whole situation was extremely awkward. She didn't talk much as she walked around the house. She just made notes on her notepad. It wasn't until we got to my room that she started to talk. I taped most of the session. I'll transcribe what was said in my room.
Did Tom spend a lot of time in this room?
Yes, we used to play Xbox a lot.
And you say it's been a few months since he went missing?
Roughly.
It's odd. I can sense another energy in this room. It's stronger than an imprint, though. It's almost as strong as your own.
What does that mean?
It means that someone else is in this room with us right now.
Is it Tom?
It's complicated. Even though I say it's in this room, it's actually not. It's here, but not here.
At this point, I was beyond aggravated.
I know this is frustrating and complicated, especially since you don't really believe in what I do. Some of what people on Reddit have been saying is accurate about dimensions, universes. The energy I feel is not on this plane of existence.
Where is it?
Again, it's not that easy. It's not like a map where you can just point to a spot.
Is he dead? Is he a ghost?
No. Whatever energy this is, it is most definitely from something living. It feels weakened, though. Frustrated, angry, scared.
Well, if it is Tom, how do we get him back?
Again, not that easy. I'll need to go over everything I can pull from the exact day and time you mentioned. The only thing I can imagine is that at that specific time there was a perfect storm, so to speak, cosmically, that perhaps allowed him to tear through space and time. That would explain that boom noise he mentioned, the burning smell.
So, can he come back?
There's a lot of variables here. First of all, we don't know if this energy is Tom. Second of all, we don't know where he really is right now. Third, we don't know what happened to get him there. If it was a cosmic perfect storm, something like that might not happen again for years, decades, possibly longer.
Reading this over again, I just want to delete it and forget it. This just feels so... I don't know. It can't be. Like, this crap doesn't happen. Like some of you said, this is Stephen King type shit. This doesn't happen in the real world. The psychic had to leave as my parents were headed back home. She said she'll get back in touch with me when she has more information. I'm going to continue to try to recreate the events of that day if I can. If there's any chance what she said is right, I can't just leave Tom where he is. Stephen King going full circle!
I'm getting a Stranger Things vibe.
Like a Langoliers.
Yeah, it's cool, and I like that this was written 3 years ago. I like that this was prior Stranger Things. You know, I love when people do shit like that.
Before big things come out.
No, I love them. Mainstream media is the source of my existence. I still think that it's alarming, the creativity on the internet sometimes.
Dude, going on Reddit sometimes, I mean, it's like 50-50. Either it's a cesspool of shit, but you gotta weed through it, and you get, like this, it's like some quality creativity. Like, a lot of times, most people spend their time on popular Reddits, like, sports Reddits and video game Reddits or whatever. Mm-hmm. But, like, the no-sleeps and stuff like that, like, that's where you find some of the most creative stuff. Part number 5. I think a lot of you are under the assumption my family and I haven't been doing everything and anything in our power to find my brother. But I assure you we have. His face is plastered across town on signs in local papers and local TV. Why won't I give up more personal information? Well, I can show you about a few dozen hate messages I received from Redditors threatening me and my family to help you understand why. I know how the internet works. I know that the minute one of these people has my information, they all will. Christ, next thing you know, I have an army of Redditors standing outside my family's home. I completely agree with all the private messages calling me crazy. I honestly think sometimes that I might be. I called a psychic for crying out loud. I borrowed a Ouija board yesterday. I mean, what happened to me? Before all this happened, I was normal. I was rational. I would have never genuinely listened to a psychic. I would have never sat in my room and used a Ouija board in the middle of the night. Call it desperation, call it a mental breakdown, call it what you will. I just want to believe he's not kidnapped or murdered. I just want to believe he wasn't tripping out on drugs. Don't ask me why thinking he's lost in some other dimension actually makes me feel more at ease.
Dude, let me tell you, acid will make you feel like you're in another dimension.
But it does. It's almost like that's more believable to me, more plausible. I looked up to my brother. He was strong, smart. He was untouchable. He was too smart for drugs. He was too strong to be kidnapped.
Too smart for drugs? Is there really such a thing?
Me.
Fuck, you're right.
Be cool, kids. Stay in school. But a cosmic perfect storm, or whatever the hell you want to call it, well, who can stop that, you know? God, it's so ridiculous. I used the Ouija board. I laughed at myself. It's made by Hasbro, man. So apparently their lineup is Transformers, Battleship, Speaking with spirits. Makes sense, right? It was late. I was tired. I know what I saw wasn't real. But what if by some chance it was? What if by some fucked up chance, when I asked if the energy in the room was my brother, and the heart-shaped piece moved to yes, that was actually him? What if, when I asked where he was, and the piece spelled out the word lost, that was actually him? What if, when I asked how did he get there, and the piece spelled I don't know, IDK, that was him? What if, when I started to cry like a baby, and that damn heart-shaped piece moved by itself and spelled miss you, that was Tom? It wasn't though, right? According to everything rational and logical and scientific and mathematical, and it wasn't him, right? It can't be him. Can it?
Yo, your boy is fucking missing. He is dead, and you are tripping. Yeah.
I don't think so.
I know. It's just the only thing I can think of that rhymed in the moment. Is this the last update?
Yeah, that's the last one.
Oh, no, wait, there is another one. So it looks like Chris, the brother who was looking for his lost brother, stopped updating after 5, but it looks like there was an update from the girlfriend. So we're gonna read that one. Hi guys, I need help. My boyfriend's brother Chris has been posting on here under the username Chris2485. From the sound of his posts, he's been in contact with a few of you, and I'm hoping someone might have some information about his whereabouts. The last time I saw him was last weekend. We talked about Tom, and I showed him the text. After that, I didn't hear a word from him until a few days ago when he called to tell me he spoke with some psychic. He sounded scared and confused. Then he started rambling about Reddit and no sleep. It didn't take me long to find his posts. When I called to tell him to be careful who he was talking to, he didn't answer. I tried calling and texting, but nothing. Then this morning, his parents called me. They were asking if I knew where he might be. They haven't seen him since the previous night. I went over straight away. Their poor mother, now having to worry about 2 missing sons. I didn't know what to do or say. I felt so useless. I went through his room and I found the Ouija board on his bed. I found a bunch of books on dimensions and portals and vortexes. I found the video recording of the psychic. She looked like an absolute quack. Then I found a local road map. There was a giant X marked on it between my house and his. I told his parents about it and we drove to the spot marked, but there was nothing there. Just a large stretch of empty road. There were a few roadside memorials, but other than that, not a thing in sight. I tried accessing his Reddit profile, but I can't figure out his password. As I was typing this, I just got a text from Chris's phone. It says, "Horrible mistake." What the heck is going on? So it looks like
He went to the upside.
Some kind of portal upside down thing. He figured out he recreated the events, or it happened again. He's now where his brother's at. Terrible mistake.
And I'm telling the audience right now, there's definitely a conversation he is having on the comments. And they definitely divulge the story a little bit more, but I'm going to leave that up to
so I don't think else. I saw in the comments while you're scrolling through some people are saying murder or whatever. I don't think it's a murderer based on the roadside memorials, because if it was a murderer, he wouldn't be texting big mistake.
The roadside memorials are to imply that people have gone missing on this road before.
Yeah, like it's happened before, but the fact that they're texting like big mistake or shit like that.
The horrible mistake just leads me to believe he said it is. The way it is described in part 1 is very much of Silent Hill, the Upside Down.
Yeah.
He finds a way to get there to find his brother and realizes he either can't get back or it wasn't his brother.
Yeah. Like his brother's dead.
The vibe I got with the Ouija board thing was like Insidious. Where it's like you think you're talking to some kind of banal poltergeist. I did get a poltergeist vibe, like a we're gonna save your daughter kind of thing. And Insidious flipped the script, and that's why I like the first one so much, is that it wasn't the poltergeist, it was the big bad. It was a fucking demon, like, fucking with them. And, like, you don't go dimension hopping. No. You don't go astral projecting people. Like, you don't. We don't know what's on the other side of these things. You don't fuck with that shit. You watch Stranger Things, it's a very, like, PG-13 way of saying, like, look at fucking Barb. Like, it's...
It's not all roses and sunshine.
Yeah,
Sometimes you don't come back.
Like the people who went over there, you know, most of them died. Only 4 of them have gone to the other side and come back. Just keep that in mind. And Silent Hill, like, most never got out. It's nuts to think about. And I think the horrible mistake could be read as either he found his brother and he can't get out, or it's a lot worse than he initially imagined, or he was tricked.
Yeah, oh, yeah. That one makes sense, too.
I do like the ambiguity. You know, that's what drew us back to this narrative.
The ending isn't any clearer.
Absolutely not.
Not any clearer.
Absolutely. We came back to this saying, like, I would love to see where this goes. It goes.
We still don't know.
It goes nowhere. But having the added detail that he had some drama with his brother, was using that shit against him. He kept saying hate you, so it's, why would he say miss you? You know?
Like, when you're faced with like life-threatening things, like you start to like.
Oh yeah, you definitely get sympathetic.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's very interesting, and I know that reading through these comments, you can probably pick up on a couple things yourself. But we're not gonna do that.
No.
That's just too much shit. But I still liked it. I still thought it was cool as shit.
I enjoyed that for sure.
Yeah, we'll have to get you back here to read the other material I got for you. Sure. But I still think that was a fun little roundup we had there.
Yeah, it feels good to get, I guess not closure, but
no sense of
more
closure.
Context.
No sense of closure, but it's still
I like it more now than I did when I first read it.
True, because it was short.
And it was kind of just like, okay.
Yeah.
And now it's like, all right. Now there's some meat to it.
Yeah. No, there's some meat on them bones.
Yeah.
Oh, so what'd you think of today? What'd you think of this episode? Any final thoughts?
No.
Any final graces?
Don't fuck with things you don't understand.
Yeah, I feel like that goes without saying. Yeah. Like, you know, ever since we started this show, I could think back to the first, 10 recordings. Like, I had, 10 of the closest people to me, come and record, and it's just, initial premise of, the first couple episodes is just, why do people fuck with shit that they don't understand?
I'm not, I don't know that I believe in the ghosts and shit, the paranormal, but I don't not believe in it enough to do shit like that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go out and say, ghosts are real, but if someone's like, yo, dude, you want to go practice a seance and try to summon a ghost? I'd be like, hell fucking no. Absolutely not.
Shout out to episodes 34 and 35 where we hypothetically divulge that very topic.
Yeah.
Me and Django do a two-part special on creepy games you could play in your house that deal with breaking dimensions and speaking to ghosts.
I will never have a Ouija board in my house.
Shit like that.
I will never have a Ouija board in my house.
I think the entire two-part just starts with don't do any of this. It just all sounds bad. It all Midnight Man sounds fucking nightmare-inducing.
Not gonna do that. Not ever gonna do a Ouija board. Not like that. That'll never step foot in my house.
Apparently Django has done Ouija shit, and that's why I had him on the two-parter. Is he brought some context to it. But again, I'm with you. I'm with you completely. the way I rationalized it to him is I don't want to know that.
No.
Let me live my banal existence and figure it out when I figure it out.
If I come back as a ghost, I come back as a ghost.
Yeah, if I die and I'm in this veiled and my spirit enters this veiled dimension that is very much like our own, but it's not I'm not gonna want to think about that my entire mortal life. I'm gonna think about it when I'm a fucking spirit.
I'll cross that bridge when I get
there. That's all of my problems. Is credit.
That I care a little bit more about.
Financials. It's I'll cross that bridge when I die. If I become a ghost, I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
Those are very different. Those are very different issues.
See, I consider them very similar.
Okay. I'm never opening a joint credit card with you.
Yeah, we're never getting married.
We're not.
Why else am I doing the show?
2 to the 1, 1 to the 3. I like good pussy and I like good tree.
last night in the D. Let me tell you how I made a leave with me. Conversation and